Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. I got a good night's sleep last night, despite going live pretty late, talking about the misrepresented polls, the irony, if you will, that all of these pundits, every single one of these mainstream pundits and pollsters that push to reality were wrong about just about everything except the red mirage. They got that one right. Apparently, at least that's the narrative that is being sold. And if you tuned in last night, I was talking how the media was ever edging to being able to declare a Biden victory, as he is publicly at 264, despite what's going on in Arizona, and we'll get there. But once again, once the media declares it for Biden, then big tech declares it for Biden, then big tech censors any alternative narrative, as they've already begun to do. Now, one of the things I didn't focus on yesterday that we're going to be talking about is that as things were popping off, I didn't go to Portland. And Portland, apparently, right while I was on air, they declared that there were riots going on there. They had, I believe, arrested 11 people. So the chaos is kind of like this long, drawn-out chaos. It's not, oh my God, there's fire in the streets. And I was watching Scott Adams. I don't watch a lot of Scott Adams, but he's over on this great platform of Rockfin as well. And his videos get suggested. And every once in a while, I kind of, I want to see what pseudo-intellectual light sounds like, And I don't hate Scott Adams. I don't love Scott Adams, but he's a pretty smart guy. And he was talking about how, a Trump victory was really the only way that these riots were going to be activated. And I would say that's wrong. Again, if you watched my pre-election special with Whitney Webb and Slow News Day, Whitney was discussing how, these riots would not be on day one and that it would be kind of a slow burn. And that was the same type of thing we saw during these BLM protests that turned sour in a lot of cases, whether it be in Portland or Chicago or New York. We showed you, a little bit of violence in New York City yesterday as well. And I would say that this is going to be the theme. But it is going to be a slow burn theme with each individual ruling or filing. Okay, so that's where I think Scott Adams gets it wrong, is that these people don't have to be activated by a Trump win. They could easily be activated by the media declaring that Biden is the president, big tech then announcing it, the left celebrating it everywhere and doing their best to censor any counter narrative. And then, lawsuits coming in. The president just has to speak, right? Trump speaks for 10 minutes. No matter what he says, they'll cut it into a 30-second soundbite and say he's going to steal the election or pull martial law, right? That's basically what they've done. They've never given the man credit on just about anything. I mean, again, they really nothing. I can't think of something they were like, you know what? Great job. Great job. And that doesn't mean he needs a pat on the back for everything. He failed it a lot. I want to make that clear. This ain't a Trump train program. I'm just telling you what's going on in the world, giving you my perspective. And so far with this election, tell me where I've been wrong. Tell me where I've been wrong. This one, look, again, with COVID-1984, I'm the first one to admit that, thank God, I got wrong that they were going to quarantine New York City off and cut it off with the military. Thank God I got that wrong. I'm so glad I got that wrong. I mean, you go watch those videos on the run-up in March, when the National Guard is coming in and all that. Some scary stuff. I'm not going to lie. And I was going to get something wrong. I'm glad I got that wrong. What else did I get wrong? I mean, even before that, I told you to get your parents out of nursing homes, that they would get hit the hardest. I told you to go shopping, and there may be food shortages, and to get canned goods and toilet paper. I told you all those things. I told you that there were studies that vitamin C and D and steroids were a way to combat this thing. And it's not like I just magically told you this. I didn't just, go to some secret source, my underground sources, or dream it up, or have, Jesus Christmas from above anoint me some kind of genius. No, it was all publicly available information. As I was saying it, I was showing you the studies that were already out there. So when we talk about the election and chaos, I don't know when we have a president. That's just, so far my predictions have been right, that we weren't going to have one on the day of. I said it could take days, weeks, even months. I've asked the question around to just about everybody I've had on the show. When do you think we're going to have a president? Now the new theories and buzzing is that there's a possibility of 2 presidents being inaugurated. Can you imagine that they have 2 ceremonies? But again, when you got guys like William Crystal that put on a real devil smile, and John Podesta that make that devil smile look like a G-rated Disney cartoon, okay? I mean, those guys are not good guys. Working together in war games on this election, and I can't reiterate this enough, when they war game that Trump wins in a landslide, they still don't concede and they cause chaos. And here we are. And once again, I can't stress enough how much the media got wrong, and no one will call them out on it. Or pollsters got wrong, and no one will call them out on it. And no one will say again what I am saying right now isn't it a little ironic, maybe even suspect, that literally every poll was wrong regarding Trump? And from the landslide to Biden, that he had it in the bag, to the black man coming out bigger than ever for Trump. I mean, record numbers for Trump, like those polls, for the Cuban community to do the same exact thing. And yet, the exit polls don't matter. We're still supposed to believe this artificially created narrative that is pushed by an establishment that doesn't care about you. That doesn't care about you. So we're going to show you some, beginning moments of chaos as well. I wanted to go over a couple other things outside of this election. Want to talk about Laura Loomer losing her bid, and kind of give you my take on Loomer. I'm glad she's out there. Doesn't mean I agree with her or her tactics or even a lot of her reporting, but at least people are out there, getting in people's faces. But we'll delve a little bit more into that in a moment. Guys, before we get going today, I want to thank you all for joining me on Rockfin and supporting me here. Remember, we're doing it 5 days a week at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And let's see. Look, couldn't do it without you via the GoFundMe either. Rockfin's great. It's still a blooming platform, and I thank all of you premium subscribers. It's like a Netflix for creators, and all you guys with the free accounts that are coming to the live streams now, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. But the GoFundMe is how I really do it. $5, $10, $15, big donors. I couldn't do it without you. It's that simple. But, there goes my Rockfin. I accidentally exit out. Also, make sure you're checking me out over on YouTube before they kick me off the platform. Joining the Burmish Brigade there. And if you haven't checked out the documentary films, now is the time to do so. So, since I started with Loomer, Republican AOC, Laura Loomer, no. No offense, Laura. I mean, no offense, but no. I mean, you're not. First of all, let's look at the differences. Other than, they're trying to say that they're kind of like the antithesis of each other. I think that, and this isn't a knock on Loomer. I'm not trying to, like, go after people's looks. But let's be honest, at least in my case, Sandy Cortez, AOC, whatever you want to call her, she is a very attractive human being. Like, very attractive, like naturally attractive. Doesn't look like, she needed any kind of work done or surgery. And, she's kind of like the typical millennial pandering on behalf of the establishment to this hip new audience, right? She's streaming. I don't think that I've heard an articulate sentence, let alone, long form comment from her ever outside of reading off of a script. Any of these times, like when I saw her putting her furniture together, I remember that was a story. I've never seen something she posted off the cuff that I was like, wow, this person's got one hell of a brain. Pretty intelligent, can think for herself. No, that's not what AOC is. Who knows what she's like in private? Hey, AOC, I think you got some kind of a boyfriend, but love to take you out for some coffee, huh? We could have a chat. You want to come on the program? We could do that. I'd love to take you to a movie. I know that's probably pretty misogynistic of me, talking about taking you to a traditional film, especially during COVID-1984 when we couldn't go if we wanted to. But that's how I feel about her. Now, Loomer, on the other hand, Loomer is, first of all, I think Loomer's intelligent, right? I think their styles are very different, but Loomer has surrounded herself with outwardly shady characters, right? Now, don't get me wrong. The DNC, Cenk Uygur, the people that helped get her in. Michael Moore, right? She's in the Fahrenheit 9/11 Trump movie, the sequel to that as well. Obviously those are shady characters, but those are shady characters kind of that are behind the scenes as and promoted as prominent people in society. With Loomer, she's hanging out with, who's that fucking operative guy, that wall guy. That guy's not good. He's not a good guy. Like, at all. First of all, I don't like stunts. Okay? I don't like greasy people in suits. From anywhere. Okay? I don't like liars. I don't like stunts, liars, greasy people in suits, people that are disingenuous, and people that revel in the opportunity to be called operatives. And that's what that guy is, right? And, I don't know what kind of relationship they had, but they were doing some shady stuff together, etc. Loomer also, and, with the physical stuff, she's had work done. I know she got the nose job. She's been very open about that. I remember she used to do, live streams with Roosh, and they were talking about, thoughts within the truth movement, like people that were, I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody, people that were kind of selling Skype interactions and all these things through Patreon tiers. It's one of the reasons I never did a Patreon or a subscribe star. I don't have tiers to give you guys. And I mean, maybe these tiers every once in a while because things are so wild, but I don't have tiers of things that I'm going to try to keep under a paywall. Even this that goes under a paywall tomorrow is free today. And then, if I like what I do or whatever, I'll cut a couple of these out and I'll put them on YouTube. And that's how we've been doing it. And that's how we have to do it to remain, relevant because that digital plug could be pulled at any time. So AOC, Loomer, I don't like that, but that's kind of like a New York Post headline, right? That's kind of like a tabloidy headline. And look, I'm not in love with the Post either. People act like, oh, well, you're pushing that Hunter Biden story. I'm pushing the Hunter Biden story because it's real, not because it was the Post that published it. It's because you can get the raw documentation in a lot of instances. And that's minuscule to what they have behind the scenes, period. So, by the way, wrapping up Loomer, it's not the last time we've heard from her. I like some of the things that Loomer's done. I like that she's gone out in front of social media and handcuffed herself to the doors. I like that she's done some on-the-ground reporting. Loomer followed me on Twitter before they threw her off Twitter. I certainly don't want her deplatformed. I certainly think that's not a good thing. But to compare to AOC in any way, shape, or form, again, I think I just did a really good actual comparison to the two and what they're about. So let's get in there. Let's start going down the line on election news today. 264 to 214 ski. And again, the media doesn't seem to be retracting anything at all about Wisconsin, Michigan, and Arizona, where things are getting hot, hot, hot. They're getting hot, hot, hot. Hot, hot, hot. Okay? Things are heating up. And again, that's where I think Scott Adams is getting it wrong that, a Trump victory was the only way to activate these riots. No, you get a slow burn with demonstrations and protests and different injunctions. And then wherever this goes in the court system, right? Say it goes to the Supreme Court, there's plenty of time to rally people around that. Because then you're going to bring up, Trump's really the one packing the courts. Sure, he didn't add a bunch of justices, and it was within his right to do so, but he's the one that set this whole thing up. But that narrative has already been pre-installed in our brains, right? Each side, if you will, the left, the right, conservatives, liberals, they already have a version of reality that they've been prepped to believe, and that version of reality collides hard. And I believe that's what they're banking on. And when I say they, I mean the predator class. Last night I showed you some of the protests in New York, but really this one video right here of the yoke up. And this is, there's other videos out there right now of, this girl spits on this cop, like literally spits in the face of this cop, and then he tackles her. He spits in her face. Let me ask you something, guys. You ever had someone spit in your face? Last time somebody spit in my face, I got in a fist fight. It happened when that crack dealer spit in my face at the pizza shop. I showed you like the bare minimum security footage. I clicked off. That's one of the big reasons I don't think I could be in law enforcement or the military or something like that. If that happened to me, I click off. Somebody spits in my face. But that doesn't excuse behavior like this either. So again, the chaos is beginning. It's starting. And Maricopa County had a lot of people out there yesterday, big time Trump supporters outside. And today, supposedly, there are almost 500,000 ballots left to count. Biden ahead by 67,000. But we haven't even got into where the injunctions are going to come in, the recounts. Last time, and this is 20 years ago now, it's hard to believe, it's when Jason Burmis was a young man coming up, just trying to find his way in the world. What would he become? Politics was on the back burner. Everything in the 2000 election was kind of just like a little bit wilder than the impeachment of Bill Clinton that had gone on, and cigarettes being rammed up the crotch of Monica Lewinsky. And then by then, I think right before that scandal, Monica Lewinsky was on the Tom Green show. Everything was still cartoonish then, but on a much lower level, right? Now the stakes are a lot higher. Now the stakes are way higher. We've had major false flag terrorism. We've had major military operations in the Middle East and Africa and beyond for full spectrum dominance. We've had major tech censorship. We've had major lockdowns in this country and throughout the world, and a push for medical martial law under what? A push for global governance, a push to bend the knee to the United Nations and their bureaucracies on behalf of a predator class. So yeah, things are a little bit different 20 years ago. I also have a lot of grays in my hair. They're not as popping today because I went and got a haircut yesterday. And for all you guys out there that think that somehow like I use Just for Men or dye my hair, guys, it goes day to day. This is just hair gel. That's all it is. A little hair gel just makes it look like I'm not as old, but damn, I got whites. You can see the patches right here, but like I can barely grow a patchy beard. That thing's going to be white soon. That thing is going to be white soon. And I just hope to keep my hair. That's all. Let's see. So yeah, guys, I put this on the home screen so you can see that Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia, that there's a good chance Wisconsin, Michigan, is we're going to see these contested. And the big enchilada, like I've been saying, is Pennsylvania. Because if somehow one of these states that they've already declared for Biden to get him into 264, right? If by some chance one of these states flips to Trump, which is a big possibility, by the way. We haven't seen anything yet. This is the slow burn. Then Pennsylvania is important. And I again, go back to election night. Joe Biden, talking about Pennsylvania specifically. Joe Biden doesn't know where the fuck he is. Somebody put that in there on purpose, again, to pre-program the narrative that they intend to push if they need to. That's how I feel about it. And to go back to, again, how all the polls were wrong, all the poll data was ridiculous, except for the exit polls. And that's why, again, we've been saying it over and over and over and over, that mail-in voting was rife with fraud because there is no exit poll on a mail-in ballot. There is none. There is no accountability. In fact, I would go this far, okay? If you want to do an absentee ballot, right? The traditional absentee ballot where you go and you request it and they mail it out to you even then, I would say that in today's day and age, it's very simple to do. They take your picture at wherever you get it, probably, the post office, but there's other places. They take your picture right there. And then, okay, there is a code number on your absentee ballot that you get. You fill it out, you send it in, and in that code number, there's also an email address. You take the code number, the email address, you pop the code into the title line there, and then you email them a selfie of you. Is that too much to ask for an absentee ballot? I'm not saying it would stop all fraud, but it certainly wouldn't be mail-in ballots, and it would strengthen the already much stronger system of absentee ballots. But I'm kooky. I'm a conspiracy theorist. Why would you want to do that, Jason? Our votes in America always get counted. Whoop-a-doo! I mean, give me a break. Come on. So, one of the things I did not go over last night was riots declared in Portland as people smash windows. And again, I think this is the precursor. This is chaos light we're seeing. Okay, this is chaos light. And one of the other things that I should bring up about Oregon is, yeah, man, they passed some pretty crazy decriminalization legislation on all drugs. You name it, heroin, meth, and they fully legalized mushrooms. Wow. I mean, I don't know how that one's going to turn out. I again, am under the mindset, if you're not hurting anybody else, then I don't know that it's a crime. I don't like nonviolent drug offenders in my prison. But hard drugs, they're kind of a different story to me. Well, what's a hard drug, Jason? A methamphetamine, something like heroin, cocaine. Those are hard drugs to me. And, just let's take cocaine first, okay, out of all those drugs. Now, heroin, as highly addictive as it is, and what you see visually it can do to people's lives and put them on Skid Row, I mean, do I really have to say much else about heroin? Do I? I mean, a lot of people have seen it over time ravage their communities. But let's go to coke, okay? Now, I may be a little bit biased because for those that don't know, I grew up, a little bit rough, I guess. It's not a big deal. Everybody goes through their struggles or whatever. But my father was a cocaine dealer, okay? And not only did it cause strife within my family and him going to jail and then even prison, and then he was dead by the time I was 16. He only made it to like 36 years old. It changes people, okay? It changes people 100%. In fact, it makes people more sociopathic, in my opinion. Other than growing up with that experience, I've seen friends that get into it, turns you into a liar, a thief in many cases, right? Making you go out for a fix. So I don't know that I love these laws that they were passed, but that you're free to disagree with me. I'm just saying that anybody that depends on substances like those that are so hardcore. Look, you want to have a beer at night, you want a little Bluntarski, you guys know how I feel about that. You want a shot of liquor, you can abuse anything. You can abuse anything. And, certain people know how to handle their parties in moderation, but a lot of people do not. Just putting it out there. So, let's see. This is Tom Brokaw. Tom Brokaw said that Trump won people over. The polls were so wrong because of his anti-lockdown policies. It's very clever because of his he rejected Biden's lockdown message. Excuse me, no flipping shizzle. Again, I've been saying this from, the beginning of this campaign for Biden that I don't even think that half the country wants to be locked down or wear masks as a mandate, right? But again, there's this illusion that all the smart people just stayed home and all the smart people wear masks and all the smart people voted Biden and all the smart people voted by mail-in, and that's what the media told you. And big tech echoed it. And yet, you got a guy like Brokaw going, that was a genius strategy. I don't think 3/4 of the country, wants to be locked down. I think when you look at the exit polls, you look at how many people showed up for Trump, there are shenanigans afoot. But am I even allowed to say that? Is that harmful content on another platform? I don't know. It seems pretty obvious to me. Tom Brokaw, his anti-lockdown message, boy, that was genius. That's like fucking second grade level shit. Again, something that, according to the WHO, which is the authoritative source, 96.4% of people survive, and that's probably a low number since they don't have all the cases. No big deal, right? Let's not talk about that. And is highly treatable by authoritative medicine of remdesivir, dextromethazone's another one, and then unauthoritative medicine of HCQ, zinc, zithromax, right? Vitamin C, vitamin D, like we talked about in the beginning of this. No kidding. An anti-lockdown message was a popular one. But that's not how the media spun it. And there's still that segment of the population that is literally so sheep-like, they cannot wait to cower in fear on behalf of the big screen that tells them how to live their lives and tells them the orange man is a racist and a white supremacist. But won't tell you about all the brown people that are actually losing their lives and the ones that survive having their lives ruined over in Yemen. Won't tell you about that. Won't focus on that. No. You want to talk about the real racism. Just the world we live in. No big deal. Shenanigans afoot. And again, they're going to show, you don't think chaos is coming? This is, again, chaos light. Let's see what we got. Let me see if we get the video here. Here we go. Barbecue, beer, and freedom. The Biden crime family is stealing the election. You don't like it, you get out.
As I mentioned, we are not prepared to give that number.
The Biden crime family stealing the election. The media is covering it up. The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media is covering it up. The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media is covering it up. We want our freedom for the world. Give us our freedom, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is covering up this election. He's stealing it.
So, yeah, chaos light. We're going to be seeing a lot of that. I can promise you. I can promise you that.